Sure.
We're joined by Rajiv Maheshwari, and I'll take over, Rajiv, but I just want to say he's a great innovator and leader of digital transformation as the CEO of Anand and Anand in India. But Rajiv, you had a question for our speakers as well.
Yeah, so hi Yasmin, hi Mark and Michelle, lovely to see you all.
Same.
Likewise.
Yeah, so we've been hearing a lot about how digital transformation has been accelerated, and I've been the beneficiary as well. We've done a lot of things in the last few months, as I'm sure most of the organizations have. But my question was on the flip side of the accelerated pace of change. In terms of what are the risks that you see in terms of the companies, organizations, law firms, legal departments rushing into the change or rather being forced by the change and having to do things in a hurry? One that comes to mind, of course, is the cybersecurity related concerns. What, in your experience, have been some of the other risks that one should now take a step back and review on what they have done in the last 6 months or so?
So I guess I see two really big risks. The first is that if you look into change management research, generally, even when you've planned it out and tried really hard to create change, like 75% of efforts fail. And one of the driving reasons why they fail is because people fail to do the right first thing first, because it's a tough one. And so when you're forced to change in rapid manner like this, there can be some positives of that. Yet if companies are changing not the right things first, then I think the negative repercussions might stop the real change from happening. And I think that leads to my second risk. Sometimes being forced to do things is a positive thing. For example, in innovation, there's this great book by Drew Boyd called Inside the Box. Everyone likes to think creative outside the box, right? But sometimes when we're constrained and restricted, and which we all now are in COVID situation, that can make us more creative, and change can happen from that. Yet I would say the one fear I have is forced into change, is I worry that people will immediately, if we ever go back to more in person, want to desperately revert back to old ways and have lots of reasons why they can justify it because of some of the negative things that happen from being so quickly forced. I just hope that's not used as an excuse. And I saw something in the chat where someone went away now, asked a question related to that. Like, how are we going to prevent people from using this as a reason to say, we need to go back to the old way? So those are my two fears related to this, and risks, I think, related to how some of this fast digital transformation has happened. Mark, did you want to add on to that?
I would just take a slightly different tack and say, I think the greater threat is to, have stasis and do nothing. I think that is far worse than making the effort. And again, to Michelle's point about the data demonstrating that the vast or a significant majority of digital transformations are not ultimately successful. That is true. However, I think that, again, I don't think the data measures what would have happened to that same organization had it done nothing and simply, remained as it was. And I think the answer is it probably would have gone out of business. And so I think it is very much a traditional legal mindset, because lawyers are trained not to make mistakes and to look retrospectively, at precedent, as opposed to look to the future and to innovate and to dare to make a mistake. I think that it's a difficult situation for a lot of lawyers whose knee-jerk reaction is, well, let me first think of all the things that can go wrong. And I'm not in any way, suggesting that you willy-nilly, make change for change's sake. But I think that there are lessons to be learned from industries and companies who have successfully made digital transformation to say, what have they done, that is replicable, and equally to learn from companies who, may have not quite got the outcome that they desired. But as Bill Deckelman reminded us, and he's been successful at it, of course, in retrospect, you're going to make mistakes. It's the old American, Monday morning quarterback. It's a lot easier to critique the game, after it's over than to be in the throes of it and have to deal with the multitude of change that's being thrown at you to make a real-time adjustment.